Welcome to the Body Intelligence Summit 2015, where top scientists, therapists, dancers, and body workers are coming together with you to discover the joy of embodied connection. We appreciate you sharing this information with your friends and family. And now, your host, Katie Hendricks.
This is Katie Hendricks, and I'm one of the hosts of the Body Intelligence Summit. And I'm so delighted today to be able to welcome a new colleague and friend, Nilima Bhat. She's a facilitator of personal transformation, the founder and director of Sampurna, the wholeness practice. She's developed a unique, holistic, and integrative medicine framework for chronic lifestyle diseases, which is outlined in her co-authored book, My Cancer is Me. Her work is anchored around the integral yoga of Sri Aurobindo and the Mother, and she's evolved a cellular healing meditation for cancer patients based on their yoga of the cells. She's currently based in Mumbai, India, and she's a trained dancer, yoga and meditation teacher, and a sought-after speaker on Indian wisdom, culture, and wellness traditions. She's also a corporate trainer for women in leadership and self-awareness for work-life balance, and currently authoring a book on Shakti Leadership. So delighted to welcome you, Nilima.
So happy to be here, Katie. A big, warm hug across all the phone lines and ethers.
I know, isn't it wonderful when technology works? I'm speaking to you from California, and you're in India, and I'm so delighted that technology is allowing us not only to connect together, but I'm so delighted to be able to share your work with our listeners, partially because when I met you last year at a conscious business gathering up at Esalen, I was immediately struck with the deep quality of your presence and the embodiment that it's very clear you've been practicing in your own life for many, many years. And I would love to have you just give people a little bit of an introduction to how you became interested in body intelligence, and especially the practice of presence.
Okay, wow. So I think that ABBA song, I could sing before I could talk. I think I could dance before I could walk. So it goes back a long way. I have just always loved dancing from a very young age, and then I found yoga when I was 32, and really it's been no looking back since. I had a corporate life. I ticked all the boxes of what I thought it means to be successful, and found myself at 32 feeling very empty instead, and asking what's it all about, and there must be more to life. How do I make a difference? Have I fulfilled my purpose? And I was in Singapore then, and I remember that, hey, I'm Indian, and these kind of existential questions are perhaps answered from my own country. So let's go back and look in that wisdom. And that's how I came to yoga, because I thought my search for spiritual wisdom and meaning should include the body, because I'd always been a dancer and so comfortable with my body. And yoga seemed to be something that would bridge the body and spirit. So that's how I came to yoga. And there are no accidents, as you very well know. I came to Sri Aurobindo and the Mother's work, really brought by my guru in a very beautifully, divinely guided process, only to remember that my father met the Mother well before I was born, somewhere in the 50s, and he was invited to play tennis with her when she was in her 70s. So it's almost as if somewhere this whole intention of whatever it is that I'm now doing in the body and in the cells, somewhere it goes back to that meeting he must have had with her. I'm just becoming aware of what that was about. So some point my husband got cancer, and I got into understanding cancer in a holistic way just so that he recovered. And he got his health back. And before we knew it, we had started teaching others from all that we had learned. And really, I came across the book Mind of the Cells by Sat Prem, who had recorded the mother's own experiences towards the end of her embodiment. In her body, she would call it the yoga of the cells. And I realized if I'm working with cancer and looking to find a method to heal cancer, then cancer is a disease of the cells gone wrong. And maybe the yoga of the cells and mother's yoga would show me some clues. And that's how I developed this program, which I now offer for free on my website. And that's what you were mentioning earlier.
Oh, wonderful. And
that is quick short.
It is so interesting, Nilima, because I ran across the book Mind of the Cells many, many years ago and became my constant companion for quite a long time. It's wonderful to hear again that connection of the liveliness of our embodiment all the way down through the cells. And it leads me to ask you a related question about why would you say that salvation is physical?
So those are mother's words from the same book, but really they really stood out for me, because you realize, as they say, we can go away into wonderful heights of oneness and bliss, and we can just leave the body and go through our mind into cosmic consciousness. But when we come back down, we wake up right here, right back into this body. And this body, we're only as free as this body. We're only as effective as this body. And this body is prone to disease, to decay, to accidents, and eventually to death. So this whole spiritual quest and this yearning that we have at an existential level as human beings, a search for freedom, ultimate freedom from our condition, from our pain, from our suffering. Well, if we can't divinize the body and make it fully conscious, and if the body can't be set free of its own limitations, then where is salvation really? So salvation is physical. It has to be physical. And the beautiful thing, as you know from the mother's work, is the discovery that indeed the body is fully capable of getting so powerful. If we can awaken it to its full capacities, it's the best thing we have for a full and free and fulfilled life.
And I know that your work has been very involved in developing processes that will allow people to really wake up their selves. I wonder if you could say more about this habit of disease and even death as a habit. And I understand that part of your question is, how can we be so audacious as to seek to undo these habits as we hone our body intelligence? What would you say to that?
Well, mother always looked for something very simple, and she was in search of this one key that that would set the body free, that would activate its innate divinity, its full potentiality, and it had to therefore find a way to get rid of what they call the physical mind, which is just the cellular memory of, we're going to die, we're going to grow old, accidents are going to happen, I'm going to catch a fever or a chill that can kill me, right? So these are like memories from the past which have become embedded around our cells. And it's almost, and the cells are so programmable, apparently, that once they have received a certain memory, they just keep repeating that ad nauseum. So, we're going to be sick, we're going to die, we're going to be sick, we're going to die, we're going to be sick, we're going to die. So that has become a habit. At a cellular level, there is a false mind, almost like a net, a fish net, which covers it. It holds. At the same time, it blocks it from being all that it can be. And that is the habit that we need to shred. And this is something that, I don't even know if we have time for this, Katie, but as you know, most of the most wonderful breakthroughs come to people through intuition and meditative states. So this one symbol came to me, this yantra, which I've made available on my website, and it's also on the article I've written in the latest issue of Catalyst. There are these golden ratio spirals, and there's 12 of them, 6 clockwise and 6 anti-clockwise. And really the intuition that came was place these spirals, this yantra, into every cell. Imprint every cell with these spirals and keep chanting Om Namo Bhagavate, which is the mantra of the cells calling the divine. And it's almost as if these spirals will start spinning and they will shred and take away, suck away these disease and death-causing patterns, programs, and in return replace them with the pattern of true form, which is the golden ratio. So you take away an old habit that doesn't serve us anymore, which is the habit of disease, death, and decay, and you replace it in the cell with a new habit, a new element, which is a new mind of the cells, which basically says, hey, I'm divine, I'm capable of perfection, and I'm capable of enduring as long as I need to.
Also, it sounds like, Nilima, I'm capable. I am responsive. I'm here in life. I'm participating in life, and I'm also creating life rather than reacting to life. I was also thinking as you were talking about that of the habit of criticism that we see so often and looking for what's wrong, and those seem to be very related to what you're talking about.
You're making a very important point that this old cellular memory, the habit, is really a habit of pessimism and defeatism. And what it has to be replaced by is this very happy, simple goodwill. And Mother describes that the cells at their base level, at their most essential level, are so happy and so they have so much goodwill and positivity that they say, yeah, we aren't tired. We are ready to struggle for centuries if need be, to really be all that we can be. There's such a simple, positive consciousness at a cellular level, apparently, that we have, which we can access. So when you asked about presence earlier in the call, it's not just the presence that we need to develop at a mental level or at an emotional level, but right down to a cellular level. A presence which does not give itself to reactions, to fear that comes from the environment. It doesn't, a presence in the cells that doesn't allow itself to be possessed by the fear vibrations that come at it from everywhere, but holds its ground and says, no, just says, no, I will not be sick.
Yes.
I'm capable of so much more. And go ahead.
Yes. One of the things I just got so excited, I interrupted you. I apologize. I was wondering if you think it would be valuable for our listeners for you to share a short guided meditation, because it seems very clear that the experience that you're talking about, it would be wonderful for people to have an experience of that directly. And I would love to have you do that for 5 or 10 minutes during our time together. Do you think that's possible?
Sure. And it would be nice if people had access to that yantra, which I mentioned. But if not, I can just, describe it and they can visualize it. And later on, they can go look at the yantra on my website or on the article.
Yes, exactly. They could put that together. So I would love to have you do that with people, and then we can move into some of the other questions that we were going to consider.
Okay. So right away?
Yes.
Okay. So everybody sit back and just get into your body. get your feet on the floor, your spine relaxed and straight. And I know by now almost everyone has had some experience of a yoga practice or a class. Take a nice deep belly breath and exhale. And allow your mind to become a calm, still clear lake, as if high above a mountaintop. And you step forward and you look down. You look through the surface of this lake and you can see your own shining soul self beaming back at you. There's a yearning for union and connection with that purity that you are, that is looking back at you. Step forward and start entering these cool waters of the lake of the mind. Go all the way until they touch your heart. Your heart blossoms open. There's a powerful vibration of divinity that flows out from your heart, from your soul. Moves out into each and every plane and part of your being. It's as if you have hit the river of light, the Antar-Ganga itself, which is now flowing through your whole being, irrigating each and every organ, tissue, cell. Taking a nice deep breath, I invite you to drop down into your cellular consciousness now. You're made up of trillions and trillions of cells. Every cell of your body is a being, has a consciousness, and wishes to do its own yoga. Every cell is capable of its own full perfection, embodied manifestation. And so you invite every cell of your body to chant with me 12 times, louder and then going softer, the mantra Om Namo Bhagavate. It just means in Sanskrit, I invoke the divine. It's a non-religious mantra. We can do together. And as you're going to do this, you're going to plant a tiny golden yantra as if it is a little droplet of sunlight inside every cell. And it's made up of these golden ratio spirals, these swirling arms. The whole thing is like a vortex of clockwise and anti-clockwise golden ratio spirals, 12 in all. And you're going to place a tiny golden yantra inside every cell as you chant. The yantra and the mantra are going to merge and start pulsating and spinning inside your cells. Okay? So you follow me. Om Namo Bhagavate. 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 The mantra continues to reverberate silently inside every cell, pulsating deeper, stronger, and expanding every cell. And it's as if your whole being is expanding and widening and widening and widening. These spirals are swirling inside each cell. All the cellular substance, the DNA, everything is getting gathered into these golden spirals. The swirling arms shred and cut all the old atavistic patterns, the cellular memory that exists like a fishnet around each cell. It's being shredded and sucked into the vortex center of the yantra, released back to Supreme Source. And from the source, simultaneously, you receive new patterns of health and well-being, true vibration of the true consciousness that we are. It's as if whatever was this distorting lens that separated the cell and the rest of us from the truth and the ground of being, which is the one great body, because there is nothing else but that one great body and consciousness. That distorting element has been shredded and removed. And we are now free to just be and to become what this grand flow wills. I invite everyone to just rest and be rocked by this grand flow, this great Shakti, this one element, and experience the freedom, the joy, and the inviolable resilience of this material, which is us, which is this body. You can repeat with me. I am whole now. My body is a perfectly healing system. I regenerate instantly. I am and I choose health now and always. Now very lovingly give thanks to your body. Rub your hands and move them over your face, your body. Lovingly stroke your body. Give thanks for this wonderful partner that we are to ourselves. We can close with Shanti, which is a beautiful way to embed this feeling of peace inside every cell. Because where there is peace in every cell, there cannot be illness. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. May peace establish itself in every cell of our body. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nilima. That was so lovely. And I imagine that people who are listening will possibly want to come back to be able to experience the guidance of your voice down into this cellular experience. And those of you who are listening, if you have upgraded to the Body Mastery Kit, you'll have access to Nilima's meditation, and you can go to that at bodyintelligencesummit.com/upgrade to find out more information. And one of the things I so appreciate about your way of being with our bodies and is to invite this resilience and the connection to the one great body as really the basic truth of our being. And it leads me to ask you how you have linked and would link body intelligence with women's awakening and, in fact, the Earth's evolution. I know this is very important to you, as it is to many of us.
Yes, thank you for the question. It's so beautiful, that there is really no difference between mind and body, spirit and matter, man and woman. There are just differences for the sake of creating multiplicity and enjoying diversity. But at the ground, it's all the same, and it comes from the same thing. And so the masculine approach, which is what has been overvalued over the feminine approach over the years of the patriarchy, has kind of meant that the mind has been valued over the body. So it's almost as if the mind tends to be more masculine and the body tends to be more feminine in that sense. The body has the capacity to receive, hold everything together, digest all the energies, and to that extent, as you know, the woman's body having the capacity to give life, bear life through her womb, it's almost as if the earth is a great big womb, or the woman is a tiny earth, you know. So just at an energetic level, it's not too much of a leap to understand that it's all connected, the body and the feminine, in terms of its regenerative capacity to give life, to create food, to give birth. So it's almost as if in the last 6,500 years or more, evolution, I mean, the way the human civilization has developed around the world, mind arrived on the scene when we came out of being animals. We were differentiated from being animals because we had a mind, we had the capacity to think. And so we needed to spend time developing those mental capacities. So the mind is a very necessary and a beautiful element, but it's not the end of who we are. It has to know how to work with all the other parts of who we also are. And the time has now come for a mature mind to understand how to integrate itself back into the body, and for values to reintegrate with feminine values, for this need to kind of harness the earth's capacities and resources to be able to do so in balance with all our other ecosystems. So we simply have left aside one part of who we are in order to develop the other, which is the mind and the masculine. And the time has come to now restore balance and reclaim the body, the feminine, and the earth as necessary to our wholeness. And we're not really going to go anywhere without them. We can't.
So as you were talking about that, what was occurring to me is the great presence of fear in so many relationships, both personal and in communities, and in racial relations, in gender relations, and globally. And I wonder how you have encountered and how you are really working with these principles with the presence of fear.
It's interesting you asked this because, so much of what is happening in India today around women waking up happened through a very, very tragic event, as I think the whole world heard about. There were those horrific rapes in the Indian capital. One particular one, I think, was on the 16th of December, 2012. Horrific as it was, it's almost as if it was a huge precipitating crisis or trauma within every woman's psyche. And it's for the woman to journey, the heroine's journey, just like there's a hero's journey, there is some kind of a descent, there's some kind of a precipitating crisis, and she gets sucked into this horrible place. She disappears to the outer world and she seems to be taken over by all these forces of the underworld. That's where she has to encounter her deepest, darkest fear of being violated, and because of being the physically weaker sex. And it's only when she deals with that front and center? Can she fully get past it to the other side? Otherwise, this fear is something that will always hold her to ransom. But on the other side of this fear lies our greatest life, lies our Shakti, lies our power, because as long as we have given ourselves to fear, we are not with our power. And when we can deal with our fear, we can face it, we can allow it to move through us. It's almost as if it can discharge itself, it loses its hold over us, its possession over us, and a huge amount of energy gets released, which is our Shakti, which is our true power, which is self-evident, innate inside us. It now awakens and is available to us, and we have a whole lot of resources that will let us deal with life, survive and thrive, and therefore we overcome that fear. So I don't know if that answers your question, but I did a lot of study in depth psychology, and I found this amazing book called Terror, Violence, and the Impulse to Destroy, which came out after 9/11. It was at a Jungian conference where all these experts, Jungians, were looking to understand what is the psychology that causes fear and violence and destruction. And you come to see that this is just, the libido, we look at eros as the drive for life, but equally it contains in it its other side, its complementary other energy, which is Aries or Thanatos, which is the drive for death. And we have to learn how to absorb the energy from both these poles to really come to a third sweet spot where it's true power now available to us. The ability to live and grow has to be balanced by the ability to assert and define clear boundaries as well. For that, we need to deal with our fears. Is that making sense?
Absolutely. And I was thinking of in Western culture, we have the myth of Persephone, who has to go into the underworld and is separated from her mother in order to really confront the same kind of issues with fear and moving through fear. And what I would love to have you talk more about is your experience of Shakti and the power of Shakti, and how women and men can really open up to the embodiment of Shakti, and what that has meant for you.
So Shakti is something so fundamental, and I'm so glad you're asking the question. The Shift Network has done a few Shakti summits, so it's a better known concept. But still, I was telling my editor, I'm writing my next book on Shakti Leadership with my co-author Raj Sisodia and Berit Kohler are our publishers. I was telling them that there's a lot of wisdom that has come out of the East that has entered the West, and the West has used it very beautifully. So yoga has entered the West. The Tao, the idea of the yin and the yang, the complementary principles from China, has entered the West. I think the time has now come for the principle and the understanding of Shakti to equally be understood and acknowledged and worked with as a very real principle that is available to each and every one of us, whether we are man or woman. And put very simply, Shakti is the power of consciousness. It is the energy that creates what consciousness wills. So if you look at yin and yang, if yin is the feminine and yang is the masculine, then in the Indian tradition, Shiva is the pure consciousness, just the pure ground of being. And when it wishes to experience all possibilities within itself, it brings forth or puts forth the power to create. It's a fuel, it's an energy, it's a power, and that is Shakti. And that Shakti is like a full spectrum of every possible energy. And that then is intelligent, conscious, it's intentional, and it goes forth seeking to manifest all that which is possible and take it right down to its final manifested embodied perfection. So if that is Shakti, it's inside each and every one of us. Each and every one of us is one unique vibration of that Shakti. And it's really the only force or fuel that achieves anything and gets anything done. When we are not in touch with that, we are operating from a standby or, on a bypass system, which is the ego. And we then start trading in an ego-based false power, which is a zero-sum game. But if we can step back from ego, enter into presence, enter into the presence as the source of our Shakti, we're able to tap into, plug into this unique vibration that comes from the ground of being that we are. This fuel now knows exactly how to direct our body, our mind, our emotions. It's intelligent, it's supremely capable, and it then takes all our instrumentality forward and makes us become the creator beings we are capable of being. It manifests through us, our projects, our ideas, our dreams, our own body, everything. So, the Sufis would say, of your life the most beautiful garden make. Well, without your Shakti, you can't make that. So,
the universal gardener.
Yes. Had I shared that story with you when we met?
No, I don't recall that. But I may.
Well, so you picked it up.
Picking it up.
So, there are supposed to be 99 names of the beloved in Islam. And number 88 is something that means be the gardener to your life's garden. And number 89 means al-mughni. And it says, well, if you come to the number 89, maybe you are done being the gardener to your life's garden, and it's time for you to now be the gardener to life's larger garden.
I love that. What a wonderful segue here. I'm so touched, Nilima, by the depth of your wisdom, of your generous heart, and the way that you draw on your own experience of love and consciousness to share with us. And we're drawing to the close of our time, and I wondered if, given everything that you've been talking about, is there one thing that you would like to leave with people that could make the most difference for them as they're moving forward in gardening their lives or gardening life's larger purpose?
I think at this point, for me, the main theme of my life is Shakti. So that's what I would share here again, which is to say, as we begin our spiritual quest, and so many of us are on the spiritual quest, just because we've gone out of, just being ordinary mortal bodies, or a mind that's intellectual, we are seeking something higher, greater. To not forget that there is a very real, necessary element that will put it all together for us, and frankly, without which we are not going to get anywhere. And that is this power, this power of consciousness, which is Shakti, which is the feminine aspect of the divine. That we can get all the wisdom we want, but it will be sterile. If we want to be in the world, we want to do in the world, we want to grow, we want to evolve, we want to transform. You can have the most fabulous Mercedes-Benz, but if there's no gas in it, you're not going anywhere. So really, you need Shakti, you need the fuel, and only that kind of power is going to get the vehicle of this body and mind to be all that it can be. So I would say find your Shakti, source it, embody it, and then manifest from it. Step in, step up, step out with your Shakti.
Oh, how lovely. What a lovely benediction to our time together. Thank you so much for being with us, and I appreciate, I know all of our listeners appreciate your time and your sharing the wisdom of your culture as you embody it, and I wish you also many, many blessings.
Thank you so much, Katie. You're a joy. You're a blessing. You're the best thing that has happened to the world in a long, long time. I mean that.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you all for being with us. And we look forward also to joining you for the next session.
Yes, absolutely. See you then.
Okay. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us for the Body Intelligence Summit, brought to you by the Shift Network. For more information about joining our global community dedicated to helping people awaken to their divine humanity and take inspired action, visit www.theshiftnetwork.com. To learn more about the Body Intelligence Mastery Kit, the online collection of top experts on body intelligence, or to add all these interviews to your personal library, visit www.bodyintelligencesummit.com/upgrade. Thank you for sharing this summit with your friends and family. We appreciate your dedicated support.